Welcome back to another Porsche car whisper video. It's going to be a little bit of a different video today. As you guys can see, it's actually raining here in California, so I thought I would take this opportunity to discuss how is wet mode activated and why you shouldn't keep your 992 911 in the garage and you should get it out when it's raining. Let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what is wet mode and how do you activate it? Well, all 992s, it actually comes standard, and you can activate it through the sports chrono dial if your car has sports chrono clock, or there's going to be a wet mode here that's going to be right below the PCM, and you can select wet mode. Now, you can do this manually, or the car will recommend when you should maybe turn on wet mode based on the road conditions. Well, how does it do that? There's actually two sensors, one in each front wheel well, that is acoustic as well as moisture. It actually measures the amount of standing water that is on the road, and as the water is spraying up and it's getting onto these sensors in the wheel well, that's going to determine if it should recommend if we turn wet mode on. Now again, you can turn on wet mode at any time, but that's how it's going to know if it should recommend wet mode. Now it's also going to depend on the type of road surface too. Now if you have cement opposed to asphalt, or if the road is crowned a little bit, there may not be getting as much water on these sensors as the water is actually running off to the side of the road, so these sensors aren't getting wet enough, or the frequency of water that's hitting the sensor isn't happening enough. Now another time when the wet sensors, or these two sensors that are in the front wheel wells, will not actually turn on is if you have just a bunch of snow that's caked in the inside of that front wheel well. The wet mode will not be activated, and that's just because it's clogging that sensor and it doesn't know how much moisture is coming in, so it's acting as kind of a deterrent for those sensors. But as soon as the warning pops up saying turn into wet mode, it's actually going to precondition some systems in the 992. It's going to precondition the PTM, PSM, ABS, and active aerodynamics. So it's actually going to lower the threshold as to when the traction as well as the stability management and ABS all come into play. So it's going to have a lower threshold, so you risk not losing control of your 911 as you're driving. So as soon as you turn it into wet mode, the active aerodynamics are also going to be playing a factor. So starting with the 991.2, we had these active flaps that were actually in the front bumper to help airflow into the front radiators to help with airflow. So they will actually open all the way up when you turn the car into wet mode. And the rear wing is actually also going to pop up as well. So that's going to help with stability to keep the car down, planted on the ground, and help with any type of understeer. You don't want to be getting understeer when it's really, really wet outside as you're driving the car. So this is going to help keep the car planted and the agility down. It's also going to have the torque distribution go a little bit to the front wheels if your car is an all-wheel drive car. Why would it do this? Well, Porsche has found that helps with overall stability of your car when there's a little bit more power going to the front wheels opposed to just the rear wheels. It's also going to reduce the torque curve as well as the throttle response of your 911 too. So of course you don't want it to be as zippy as maybe it usually is when it's as wet outside, because if you punch it, of course you're going to lose control. So it's just not going to be quite as responsive, and again, that's going to help with overall stability. You can enable wet mode all the way up to 155 miles an hour, so that's hauling. And of course, for those of you that are in Germany, you can be driving the car on the Autobahn, you can be going 130 and still turn wet mode on. And you're still going to have, of course, amazing driving, but this is just going to help you keep your car planted and not lose control of it, because that's super important when there's just a bunch of rain out there on the roadway. If it's raining a decent amount, turn it on. Don't even wait for that warning to pop up here on the instrument cluster, because you don't want to risk anything crazy happening on your 992. So that is a significant, huge help. A lot of advancements, of course, that happen with the 992. Now, I expect a lot more of the Porsches in the Porsche lineup to start getting this wet mode. Right now, it's only the 992 that has it. I wouldn't be surprised if the Panamera, Taycan, maybe some of the other vehicles start to also adapt this technology. So again, turn your car into wet mode if it's driving, and do not keep it in the garage. Get it out of the garage and just play around with it and see how much fun it is, and just see how the driving dynamics change when you turn wet mode on. It's absolutely amazing, and I would highly recommend it. As always, I really appreciate you guys watching this channel. There's a lot of big things coming to my channel. I'm going to start doing a lot more live streams. I'm going to answer any questions you guys may have on those live streams. You can ask me like whatever questions you have, and if I don't know the answer, I'll do everything I can to find the answer. I'm going to also start doing some live quizzes, so you guys can come on the live stream with me. We're going to have the quizzes, and then you can win some pretty cool Porsche stuff. So stay tuned for all that stuff. As always, I really appreciate you guys watching these videos. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.